Welcome, everybody. Welcome to another Paranormal Highway. This is Bigfoot Tuesday. Well, today's topic is 10 Bigfoot sightings that made the news. Got an article that says these are the 10 Bigfoot stories that made the news that are popular around the world. I don't know. We'll check out the article. And I got videos from the United States of news channels that still talk about the Bigfoot. So, we're going to have a fun time. We're going to look at some videos of news channels nowadays that still talks about the Bigfoot. And then we'll look at the article of the 10 sightings. I think we know a few that were, automatically going to make it. You know that, and I know that. So kick back, relax, have a fun time. Go to the bathroom, go get some popcorn, whatever you got to do during the intro. And I have a poll that's up right now. It's a simple poll. Simple. Do you believe in the Bigfoot? Simple. Yes or no? Cut and dry. So after the intro, we're going to have a kick-ass. And Danny Staton is going to be on the show today, too. Talk about some of these news channels. What does he think about it? So we're going to have a fun time. Kick back. Here's the intro. Here we go. We got Danny Staton on, because I want to get his opinion on some of these news stories, the article. Right now, the news is dominated by, let's just say, UFOs versus everything else. UFOs is dominating all the news channels. Usually, no offense to Bigfoot. Usually the news channels, they kind of go towards UFOs and paranormal more than the Bigfoot. It doesn't mean they don't talk about the Bigfoot. It's just hard to find individual news channels that will talk about anything about the Bigfoot. It's all UFOs right now. All UFOs because of the conference. But let's not forget, Bigfoot is just as important as any other community out there. Bigfoot is out there. And so, Danny, before we get to the article, I went online to find some news stories of Bigfoot this year. Just random news channels. These aren't like news channels are all over the world, but they're there. They are there. So Danny, I'm gonna play one of these news article, news channels covering Bigfoot. The first one I'm gonna be playing is called the Bigfoot in Leominster State. I don't know what the fuck that word is.
Real quick, can people actually hear me? Because I'm on my laptop for the very first time. I hear
you just fine.
And I appreciate you sending me that special link. And this is so cool. It's like watching you on TV, man. I wish you could see what I'm seeing. I might start watching the show on the laptop every time now.
Well, the idea of this show is that Bigfoot is in the news. You just sometimes got to find it. It's just not going to be on all the major news channels unless you get Jeremy Corbell or somebody who goes out there and now become Bigfoot hunters. So it's never going to be in the big time news unless there's a major finding, of course. But here's one of the news channels that actually covers a story about the Bigfoot. Here we go.
45 miles west of Boston is a place called Monsterland.
Parts of Leominster, including the state forest, are home to sightings of Bigfoot and other unusual activity. Jacob Wyckoff met up with one man who's been on the hunt for decades.
Well, I would go to meet friends or ride bikes, and there was a particular trail on the way that I would go down all by myself, about 11 years old. It was this eerie dead quiet. And then within seconds, the forest erupted in front of me, where trees and shrubs were moving, and I started to feel these reverberations through the soles of my feet of something walking. I was there for a few more seconds, and I just took off.
In that moment, were you scared?
Oh, terrified.
We're in Leominster State Forest with Bigfoot hunter Ronnie LeBlanc, not far from his first brush with the mysterious.
I'm going to continue this, but first of all, Danny, have you heard of that guy?
Yeah, I have.
Okay, first of all, before I'll go further with his story, do we know if he's kind of honest, or you know what I mean? Like
I can't attest to his honesty, but I've never heard nothing said bad about him.
Okay.
That's all I can honestly say. I've heard stories, and I've heard other people on shows like yours talk about him. Never met the guy, but never heard nobody say, "Oh, he's full of it," or nothing like that.
Well, let's finish the news story on him.
Mysterious creature. Since that initial encounter, Ronnie has dedicated his life to tracking the Sasquatch.
I think because these things have happened to me personally, it's created almost this obsession where I need to find out more.
LeBlanc is currently featured on the Travel Channel's Expedition Bigfoot.
Ronnie? Yeah. Look at this. It's been pushed this way and crushed.
He's also written 2 books on the subject, both about the area dubbed Monsterland by the locals for decades.
Monsterland, the reason it gets its name, because there were sightings of Bigfoot creatures going back to the late 1800s.
Ronnie even helped cast these footprints found a decade ago. The pictures later posted on a Bigfoot blog.
The experience of seeing something like that impression in the ground.
Hold on one second. I'm going back to, is that a foot? It's supposed to be a foot in the ground?
I'm not sure. I was looking at that too when you went back.
Yeah, I didn't notice that. That picture was so quickly, like, I'm guessing that's got to be a casting from a foot.
I can't remember where it was, though, that I put up a video recently. I think it might have been Missouri or somewhere like that. That casting looks awful similar to the footprint from that news story I put up earlier on the Daily Damn blog. I just can't remember exactly where it was from.
And people in the chat, listen, we're not here saying all because you hit a TV or you were a guest on a pretty big show on Discovery that makes you a fake or real. No, not at all. Because Danny and I, one of our good friends, is Long Island Bigfoot. All because he's on Paranormal kind of camera. All of a sudden, you kind of like, oh, he's big time now. He's, you know what I mean? I mean, all because you make it doesn't make somebody real or not.
In his defense, Long Island Bigfoot was kind of popular in the sub-Bigfoot culture anyway, because he's one of the few people that actually catches real evidence.
Yeah, he does.
Compared to some of the other people who catch shadow beast and water spots they call footprints. And I'm not going to say no names about deaf people who cut Bigfoot.
No,
I'm not going to do that here.
I know there was some people that tell me, Eric, but he catches a lot because he's out there every day. He's out there every day. So your percentages go up when you're out there every single day. I mean, he's always out there. He's always driving somewhere. I mean,
years ago when I first started watching Mike, he had like 550 subscribers. I actually had more subscribers than he did when I started watching him. And even though his channel's blowed up recently, I had been watching him for a long time, and I've always found what he catches to be some of the most interesting stuff.
And he's got a heart of gold. The man's got a heart of gold. I mean, he would do anything for anybody if he could. Okay, let's finish this story.
The experience of seeing something like that impression in the ground, 6 footprints, something I've seen in a lot of books from the Pacific Northwest, and here we are in Massachusetts.
And Monsterland is more than just Bigfoot. Your head starts to spin when UFOs and glowing orbs come into play.
Believe it or not, Ronnie tells me there could be a connection between aliens and Bigfoot, and we could be just a few years away from actually unlocking that mystery.
We witnessed a ball of light change and turn into two eyes.
During one outing in Ohio, his mind began to change about what this hairy humanoid really could be.
And then become basically this 8-foot shadow that ran in front of us. Are these things physical, or are they something that's more paranormal, more spiritual?
And if they're paranormal, Ronnie believes their origins may be from above.
This is something that's maybe more alien, more interdimensional. 99% of these could be all made up, and everyone can just be saying whatever they want. But if you have that one that is legit, this whole thing is real, then it's a game changer, and I think it's a paradigm shift on how we see the world and how we fit in it, in this universe, really.
From Monsterland.
Okay, now let me get rid of this video. Now he says some interesting things that we fully. I mean, honestly, we don't know physically that Bigfoot could be more paranormal. With the ball of light. You talk about like connection with aliens. Listen, my personal belief is Bigfoot is its own thing. It's flesh and blood. I don't think he's paranormal. I don't think he was dropped here by aliens. Now, I'm not saying there's not a connection where maybe these Bigfoot can talk to an alien. Maybe, if an alien race might feel more comfortable talking to a Bigfoot than a human. I mean, we don't physically know, but I heard stories about the light, and there's a lot of stories. You see a Bigfoot, you see a light, but there's more stories that you don't. So, is there a connection? Of course, there could be, but at the end of the day, we really don't know. I mean, so Dan, what's your opinion? Do you think Bigfoot is flesh and blood, its own thing, or do you think maybe it's connected to an alien or paranormal?
What I think is just an opinion, and an opinion is like a rear end. Everybody's got one. I have a philosophy I live by.
I love that. Everybody's got a rear end. I'm sorry. I love that.
Well, I was going to say something else, but I try to keep it G-rated on your stream because everybody knows unlike Dr. Wu, I got one foul mouth. So I'm working on it for YouTube because they keep blocking my videos for language. But we won't go into all that. I have a philosophy, and my philosophy is real simple: to keep an open mind and to consider every possibility, and all things are possible. I don't discount nothing. I listen to people's stories. When I go out on investigations, I listen to their stories. I do an investigation. I try to find evidence to at least corroborate their statements. I don't try to disprove them. I try to prove them. But a lot of times you get wound up just catching people faking and everything else. It happens.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. At the end of the day,
I've actually been got once. So, there you go.
I mean,
stupid farmer
we just truly don't know. In my heart, I feel it's its own flesh and blood, but we really, truly don't know.
When I first started, I got all excited because this local farmer had brought me some pictures that nobody else had of the Bigfoot in the woods, and I was all excited, put them up on my channel. For years, everybody said, "Oh, that's some good Bigfoot pictures. They're great. They're great." I showed them to Nikki and Joe over at Sasquatch Secrets, and in 10 seconds, they're like, "No, this is bull." So I go back and confront the guy, and we get in this big argument. And it turns out he had his big giant kid in a Chewbacca outfit running around in the woods making some pictures to jerk my chain.
I mean, that's going to happen. I mean, It's unfortunately stuff like that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Well,
before you jerk my chain too much, remember I was in jail a week for whipping his butt. There you go.
Now, here's a short little 30-second video clip of a county putting in some rules about a Bigfoot. I think it's kind of cool, but let's check this. It's only 30 seconds, people. It's only 30 seconds.
For campers in Taos County, the sheriff's office is sharing safety tips on social media to protect yourself from, Bigfoot. The warning says they are coming out of the high country to feed near the Kern River. They recommend not running from or chasing Bigfoot, maybe because it doesn't exist.
God.
But they do suggest you take pictures if you see one.
So, Danny, is that real? Did the county
I put that up on my channel, and I thought everybody would get it, that it was kind of a joke thing. And I swear 80% of the people thought that was real and amazing. And I was like, didn't want to tell them different. But that's kind of a funny that the news company thing done. But I did put it up on one of my channels, so there you go.
You know, rules on what to do, social media with the Bigfoot. Listen, if you're just a regular person, you see a Bigfoot, if you take a picture, but walk away. Don't go towards the Bigfoot, okay? Especially if you're untrained, I don't know, soldier, untrained person, you know, and all that. Because I'm seeing videos of dumb people walking up to certain animals that you shouldn't have. I seen pictures of people touching certain animals when they're babies. That once a certain, I don't know what species it is. You might know, Danny, that if you touch a baby animal, the parents will not take care of it no more. You basically
that's not always true. That really isn't always true. It's only in some cases. I find it mostly true with some feline animals in the cat family. But if you handle baby possums, their mama will go ahead and raise them. And my little girl used to play with the baby deers and pet them and play with them all the time in the backyard. And that mother deers always took care of them. So that's not entirely always true. It depends on the animal.
But people will walk up to a dangerous animal not thinking it's dangerous. You know, it happens all the time. It's just there's pictures, there's videos of people walking up to a bear out in the woods. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, the one I love is the stupid lady who walks up to the buffalo at Yellowstone Park like she's going to be petting it or something.
Yeah.
And it throws her up in the air about 25 feet and rips the dress off.
Because one thing about, like, if you're in the mountains, you see a baby grizzly, don't walk up to a baby grizzly because mama's just right around the corner. And mama's there not going to let you touch their babies.
You got to remember, it was 2 years ago that I was in the woods on an investigation. And I'd run into some bears, and there was baby bears, and I had no choice. The mama bear tried to kill me. I had to shoot it. It's at the taxidermist right now.
I mean, yeah, there's nothing wrong with protecting yourself, but like you said, they're dangerous. They will attack you. They will go after you. But let me see, what is this story here? Shocking news. I found another one called Shocking News. Finally, Bigfoot caught on camera. Oh, finally a Bigfoot caught on camera? Shocking news? Well, let's see. Let's see if they caught this Bigfoot on camera. Let's see.
A figure emerges from the shadows of a forest, only to disappear into the cover of trees once again. It's a scene that has been caught from the corner of 1,000 human eyes. However, many in the science community argue that no one is any closer to looking a Bigfoot or a Sasquatch square in the face. A data scientist by the name of Flo Foxon has shown that most Bigfoot sightings in the United States and Canada are probably black bears, walking upright on their hind legs. Botox gift cards, wine, what's in the $60,000 Grammy bag? According to the U.S. Forest Service, American black bears usually walk on all fours, but will stand on their hind legs if it means they get a clearer view or a stronger whiff of something interesting. And from this position, they can appear almost human-like, only much hairier. This isn't the first time that scientists have suggested black bears as the explanation for the Bigfoot phenomenon.
We're going to talk about this.
Back in 2005, one scientist compared black bear populations with reported Sasquatch sightings in the northwest corner of the United States. However, that scientist concluded that a species of animal other than the American black bear is responsible for sightings of this alleged mythical creature. In 2009, another paper from the same region of the country showed a high degree of overlap between black bear populations and Sasquatch sightings. In areas with high numbers of black bears and humans, more people report seeing Bigfoot, and this is especially true in the Pacific Northwest. On the other hand, in Texas and Florida, black bears are not nearly as common despite the fact that Sasquatch sightings in these two states are common. Notably, Sasquatch sightings have been reported in states with no known breeding black bear populations. Although this may be interpreted as evidence for the existence of an unknown hominid in North America, it is also explained by misidentification of other animals, including humans, among other possibilities, Foxon stated. In conclusion, if Bigfoot is there, it may be many bears, said Foxon.
Now, there's a reason why I show this video.
Hey, let me point something out to people real quick. Okay. You see this symbol on my hat? And you see the picture he's got up right now? Anytime you see a Bigfoot in this particular pose in a picture, remember, it's probably not real. Just saying.
Well, there's a reason why I show this video. This is a clickbait video because they wrote in words, shocking news, Bigfoot caught on camera. What they're really trying to do is get you to watch it to try to tell you that most of the footprints you're finding are all black bears. And I'm not saying some of them are black bears. I'm not saying that. A lot of them probably are, but it's like they want to hide the truth where, guys, you're not getting these all these plaques you're making, all these foots are all fake. They're all real. They're all bears. Because there's some people who make these plaques that they're just too damn big for a bear.
And they point out that I used that same title on a video last week. And in my video, you actually see something move. I'm not sure if it's Bigfoot, but I used the same title. I saw something big in the woods, 8 foot tall. I caught some of it on video. I put the video out and I put Bigfoot on it. But it could have been a dog man. It could have been an upright giant bear, a grizzly. I don't know. I just saw fur move through the woods real quick.
Now, Danny, I am going to ask you a question to see. I love asking people questions. Now, but why is it sometimes when people do find a good footprint, it deep, perfect, you can cast it, but when you ask the person, was there any other footprints? It seems like there's never any other footprint. If something made a footprint that put a dent in the ground, why isn't there any other footprint? Like, do they make a footprint and they vanish somehow? I mean, do you?
Well, actually, if you watched my earlier videos about 3 or 4 years ago, twice I found that same situation. And on video, I was like, how the hell can there be one footprint in the middle of no freaking word and no other footprints around it? And I got over in the mud, got my shoes dirty, went over and investigated it like a good investigator did. How could they be one print here, big, giant, clear print, and nothing around it? And what I deduced from some scuff marks, that it was running. And it ran, and as it jumped into the air, it came down with its left foot, slightly in a mud puddle, crushed in.
Okay.
Left this one big print, nice and beautiful in the middle of this mud puddle. And as it jumped off, due to its height and size, we're talking 5, 6, 7 foot strides here. The next little scuff mark on the high ground with some flattened pine needles where it landed. Was both places on each side of the mud puddle were hard ground where it launched. That one place in the middle of that area was weak with some rainwater built up in it, and it was mud. And when it come down in that puddle, it left this one print. It's on video on one of my videos. You can check it out. And that's just one scenario on how you can find one print like that. It depends on the terrain and the moisture in the ground as to how deep it sets and how big a footprint you get.
Somebody put a frog picture, a little frog jump. But I can see that because they got longer strides, and maybe the dent ones are from a jump because that's the pressure to push it down.
You got to remember the incredible stride on a large creature.
Yeah. I mean, hey, I mean, that could be a good one. Now, this other video before we get to the article is called Bigfoot Believers Hunting for the Mythical Creatures in Michigan. This is Michigan. I was hoping that Michigan, Bigfoot Michigan and Rob was coming in because I found this news story about a Bigfoot in Michigan. It would have been perfect for Bigfoot Michigan Rob. But he does have a new book out, True Cryptid Encounter, and myself and Danny, we both got his book.
I'm promoting his book because I love it.
And guys, just so you know about his book, and we're not trying to force you guys to buy this book, but the best thing about his book, people, is it's not one story. There's 45 different stories. So, you can read a story a day. You know what I mean? You don't have to read the whole book. I mean, he's got 45 different stories. And a lot of times on Danny's channel, Danny does play, stories that he said, the videos that he makes. He does play some of his stories. So Bigfoot Michigan Rob's got some amazing stories, people. I mean, that he have heard.
If you check out where it says live streams in my playlist, you'll find my live shows. And a lot of my live shows, I play Bigfoot Michigan Rob telling Bigfoot stories. while I look for something to actually happen.
So let's check out this news story of Bigfoot believers hunting.
UFOs, aliens, ghosts, all mysteries that have driven a search for answers. While we may never know the truth, there are agencies and organizations looking to explain the unexplainable. And that includes a growing group of Bigfoot believers right here in Michigan.
It was a footprint. A big footprint.
Yes, that Bigfoot.
They seem to be a family or pack type creature. Usually if you see one, there's more than that around.
Rich Meyer is behind the Upper Peninsula Bigfoot Sasquatch Research Organization.
I was hoping Rob was here so I could ask him if this is like a real credible research organization. I don't know. I live in the Northwest. Is this a real good solid group or
That's I subscribe to like maybe 2,000 Bigfoot channels, and that's one I don't even know.
Yeah. So, this is why we played this. That's why we played this video. So now if somebody wants to research this organization, you can. I don't live in Michigan. I can give a rat's ass, but,
if I'm a mod on a channel, I pretty much subscribe to everybody on that channel.
I got to, before I play the video, I got to let you know, Danny, that Paranormal Pixies Laura said, "You're behind the wall is awesome. You're behind the wall." She loves all your comic books.
If only she could see the whole thing. My whole room's done with comic books. And every comic book you see on the wall, I've reviewed on my channel.
And what I appreciate about Danny has sent me some. I still got him in wrapper. Sent me some awesome comics. He sent me the Star Wars one that I have not taken out of the package because this is special. Danny has sent me Dark Shadows, another Dark Shadow. So Danny knows his comics and he knows what I like. He sends it. I'm sorry, guys. We'll go back to the video, but I just want to say Danny has sent me some comics.
I like this one. That's the one that's just got the Bigfoot, the Dog Man, the Wendigo, everything in it. It's the cryptids. That's the one I reviewed on the Duddy Dan blog a couple of weeks ago. If you want to see inside this book, you can check that video out.
Here we go.
The mission of the UPBSRO is to collect, catalog, and educate the public about Bigfoot and the Bigfoot phenomenon.
Meyer leads expeditions in Michigan's UP in hopes of tracking down the mythical creature, and he believes there are thousands living in the Michigan woods.
The more isolated it is, the better chance you have of finding something or seeing something. So if people are asking me where in the UP they need to go, I always suggest Highway 13. There's a long history of sightings.
13.
Their excursions often turning up what's believed to be evidence of Bigfoot's existence, footprints, strange recorded sounds, and even possible close encounters.
We just did a private expedition in the same area and had a 7 to 8 foot tall figure through a thermal imager.
I'm gonna pause it on
checking us out.
Hold on, I'm gonna pause it back on that picture for a second. I mean, I've seen worse pictures of people saying it's the Bigfoot. I can see the shadow. Now, it could be just a shadow.
Yeah, but you see, the problem with that is, look at my hat. You use this as the blueprint for BS. Now look at the picture.
And almost
because
like
whenever
that.
they think it, they use the same little Bigfoot image thing. It's where Bigfoot's doing that same little strutty walk. Now look at that strutty little walk. And whenever I see that, I don't trust it.
You know what I hate right now? I got this thing licking my leg. Would you stop licking my leg?
At least your dog's got some energy. My lazy dog won't get off the couch to even come back here.
Hey,
she
wants to say hi. Hey, everybody.
You said something about a dog.
She wants to say hi. She's licking my leg. Okay, you gonna leave me alone now? You gonna leave me alone? We gotta play a video for these good people. Okay. My wife's had to go into her work building today, so the dog hates to be alone. So the dog follows me. So if you guys see me getting up and down, getting out of my seat, it's because I'm letting the dog in and out. There we go.
Foot tall figure through a thermal imager checking us out. As we walked closer to it, one of us got within 20 feet of it and didn't realize it was there until it took off running down the hill.
Then you have viral videos like this one, which have captivated both skeptics and believers. Reportedly taken last year, millions have watched the video that shows someone.
Everybody has seen that video. Danny, what's your opinion on that video?
When I first saw it, I actually thought that video was real. I really did. But after watching Sasquatch Secrets with Nikki and her taking an in-depth look at it, I'm kind of leaning towards it being a man in a ghillie suit now. But I trust her opinion because she makes her whole channel's about analyzing these videos and evidence and letting you know what's really going on with it.
Well, sometimes that's all you have. It's just the video. There's not a whole lot of more information. So, when you only got the video to dissect, she does a great job dissecting the video. And I saw that, I saw the video you're talking about when she dissected it, thinking that's more fake than it's real.
Yeah.
And
I wouldn't say fake. Somebody filmed somebody crossing.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
It was somebody who put the video
footage
up
of somebody walking. We just don't know if it's a man in a suit, man in a big brown jacket. I don't know, but
maybe it really is a Bigfoot toting a kid. You don't really never know. It's the jury's still out 50-50.
At the end of the day, you don't
because
know,
some people believe it's fake does not mean it's fake. It just means that's their opinion.
The only thing I would also look forward to is how many people now went to that area because of the video. I'm just curious. Did Bigfoot investigators all start going there after the video? If nobody has, it just kind of tells you that most people might think it's more fake cryptid.
If it was anywhere near me, I'd have been there as soon as I saw it. Just for the investigator part of it, that possibility that it's real, that possibility that something may still be around out there. So I would have went to have a look regardless.
What did Pixie say? Show the one Anthony was sent of BF on the show from the guy on the boat. That one was great. The one for I know which one you're talking about. Yeah. Maybe I'll try to find that behind the scenes. Maybe I'll try to find that. Oh, hey, look. The woman you're talking about right there. Sasquatch Secrets.
Well, I always talk about Nikki because her shows are so good.
I still feel bad that I didn't make it up to their Bigfoot thing, but a lot of people know that
something actually happened and you missed it.
I know, but a lot of people know that I was actually in the emergency room. I sent you pictures of myself inside waiting for the doctor from the emergency room. But I'm better now, people. If you didn't know, I was actually in the emergency room a couple weeks ago, and they got me on some pills that actually has helped so far. But I only got like 5 more days of supply, so I'm afraid that when I run out, the issues why I was in the emergency room will come back. But we'll continue this video. We'll talk about that another day.
Or something walking across Michigan's Cass River. So what is it? Depends who you ask.
Some people have decided it's definitely a Bigfoot, and it has a baby that it's carrying, and you can see different shadow lines on it. There's other people that it's a guy in brown with a set of waders on.
They have a right to be skeptical.
Now meet Casey Dostert. He's been documenting on TikTok encounters in northern Michigan with what he calls a creature.
Oh, come on. Where are you? Maybe we just need to step out of here.
Hey, Danny, I don't know if you saw this. Cosmic Neighbor has just said, Danny, when I move down to South Carolina this week, how about we go on a Bigfoot hunt in the near future?
All he's got to do is say the word. I love Ron to death, and I'd love to take somebody else out some places that I go.
I gotta tell you, you and everybody in the chat is so damn lucky. You guys don't know how damn lucky you guys are in the chat, because me living in the Northwest, I got nobody. And you guys now Danny got cosmic neighbors if he wants to go out somewhere now, going to South Carolina. You know, I see people meet up with the other people doing events because they all live near each other. There's nobody that lives near me. Nobody lives near me.
I don't live but like 43 miles from Jessica Jones.
Yeah, that's right. She lives down there. That's right. I forgot.
And Squatching Pat, what's it? The guy named Pat that does the Bigfoot channel. He don't live
You know
too
what,
far
Dina
from
P?
here.
You know what, Dina P? That's kind of funny. We did talk about if we won the lottery that, you know, probably that we would move back. Not move back. My wife's is from upstate New York. That she would move back to upstate New York if we won the lottery because we could, you know, we could do whatever we want. Because right now New York is way too expensive to live. The taxes that are in New York is just outrageous.
I don't see why anybody wants to live in them big cities. It's like if something bad ever happens, that's like the worst place in the world to be.
Yeah. Now my wife don't live in the. My wife's not from the big city. She's from a town. She's actually from a village, out McGraw. That's next to their small town of Cortland. That's like 20 miles away from Syracuse. So she lives.
Is that near Sleepy Hollow?
In a very, very country. When I first went to New York, upstate New York, for my wife's where her parents are, I thought I was in a wonderland. I'm like, wow, look at the snow, look at the houses. Is this Wonderland? Because, you know, I'm a West Coast person. Well, let's finish this video.
Christ.
Thousands tuning into his videos. In them, he says he has been exchanging gifts with the mysterious being. He says it all started when his chickens started disappearing 2 winters ago.
We wanted to try to capture it on film or see what it is. And we figured the only way to do that is to get it to trust us to be out there.
So we're back at the gifting rock, and we're going to check it out, see if anything got left behind. And yes, it did. That is so sweet.
I've definitely interacted with something that's mysterious to us. I think there's a lot of things out there we can't explain. And maybe we weren't meant to be able to explain them, and maybe we never will explain them.
So, is it Sasquatch or something else? One thing's for sure, whether Michigan is home to the missing link or just a myth, for most, seems...
Regardless if we think that's real or not, that is from a local news channel. I'm just showing you guys videos that are from local news channels. So what I'm trying to get at, news channels are still... You know, they still talk about Bigfoot. You just got to find them. But now there is a major news channel that actually did talk about the Bigfoot, and it's Fox News. But when I saw who this host guy is, I'm like, what? Is Fox News, are they looking for a different kind of person now? Because I was shocked on who their newscaster is. Because, Danny, I don't watch Fox News. I don't watch Fox News, but I'm looking at this newscaster. I'm like, and then I'm not judging people. I'm like, wow, when did they have gangsters start to be on a national news channel? Watch, guys. This is on Fox News, and I was shocked. Is Fox News just getting cool? Are they looking for varieties, or what? Because watch.
Welcome back to Fox News Saturday Night. Summer is finally here, and nobody's ticked off except Bigfoot. Vacationers across the country will be.
I mean, I'm not bashing the guy, but I'm like, wow, did Fox News fire like everybody, and they're looking for different flavors? I'm like, I saw the hat, and I saw like I was like, wow. But this is a Fox News story on Bigfoot. Let's see what they got to say. Let me continue.
Hitting the hiking trails and pitching their tents, meaning it is the hardest time of the year for Bigfoot to stay out of the public's eye. And who better to discuss Bigfoot than professional squatcher and host of Finding Bigfoot, Matt Moneymaker. Matt, good.
I'm sorry, you know, when I was watching this, I'm like, wow. When did Fox News go totally? I mean, I'm not making fun of the guy, Danny, at all, but I'm like watching this like. Their newscaster looks like he's from the hood, like art level. I mean,
he does look kind of evil, don't he? like you look like a James Bond villain.
Yes. And I'm like, wow. Like I haven't seen a Fox News channel, a CNN forever, and I just found this on the internet. And I'm like,
and let me just also point out that Matt Moneymaker looks like my plumber.
Who's that guy? Matt Moneymaker?
Yeah, he looks like my plumber.
Let's see what they got to say in this video.
Good to see you again.
Well, thank you so much.
So let's just get down to brass tacks. As you are the leading expert on Bigfoot, in my opinion, Squatches, Sasquatches, or whatever. Now,
so actually, Danny, I'm gonna be honest.
I love that.
Why is this guy considered the Bigfoot leading expert? Is he a leading expert?
Are they really a leading expert on Bigfoot? How the hell are you become an expert on Bigfoot?
You know what? That always, honestly, I'm not trying to make fun of him or make fun of these two people, but they use the word expert. Like, I mean, listen, if I was if they call me a Bigfoot expert, then I better damn well have a Bigfoot next to me to show people, because what makes you an expert? What, do you got more pictures than anybody else?
Let me put it this way. He is an expert. I will admit that. I've been watching his show for 7-8 years. I've been watching him look for Bigfoot. You know what he's an expert in? Not finding Bigfoot.
That's my point. That's my point. Like when we saw our Bigfoot, we weren't hunting for no Bigfoot. It just came out. You know, and ever since we had our Bigfoot encounter, when we actually went out to find Bigfoot, you know what? We never saw Bigfoot again. So when
I saw Bigfoot, I was a kid that thought Bigfoot was a character from TV and movies. I didn't know it was. I didn't grasp that it was real.
And I
saw Bigfoot a year before the In Search of Bigfoot thing ever come out, and the only other time I'd seen anything to do with Bigfoot was a movie called The Legend of Boggy Creek, and in my mind I went and saw a horror movie, and it was like the Wolfman, it was like Dracula, it was Frankenstein, it was The Legend from Boggy Creek and the Gillman. These were movie monsters; they weren't real. And then I was in the woods and I saw something. I was in the woods and saw it for real and realized that monsters were real. It messed my world up for years.
Let me see this. Sasquatch Secrets wrote, Tyrus, as a wrestler, he's signed to the National Wrestling Alliance, NWA, where he is reigning NWA World's Heavyweight Champion in his first reign.
And why would you want to bring that up? Why?
Is the guy that we're looking at with the hat, is he a wrestler?
He's a wrestler, and he's like fired from WWE because he's like one of the worst wrestlers in the world. How this guy wound up an NWA champion is beyond me. He can't work. He can't job. He can't do nothing right. He barely can talk. It's amazing he's on TV.
And Truss has been on Fox for a while. Really? I guess I have not watched Fox in a long time, because actually, guys, I don't. No,
I watch Fox, but I don't watch his show.
Well, my wife and I actually had this conversation about a couple of weeks ago that he's like me. We're tired of these major news channels, because CNN, they're all for Democrats. Fox, they're all for Republicans. And it's almost like there's no real news anymore. It's all just, I don't know. Here, let's finish this Fox video. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
I was thinking about this today when I was coming up what to discuss with you. I'm a big fan, as you know. I would think summertime where we're seeing with all the encroachment, especially in the parks and stuff, we're seeing the bison getting harassed and bears getting harassed by people wanting selfies and stuff. Is this a difficult time for Bigfoot, in your opinion?
It is in some places, but maybe not in others.
I just love that. Is it a difficult time for Bigfoot? Is Bigfoot like shaking because of social media and stuff? Like maybe it's a difficult time for regular people not having a real footage or something, but I just like that. Is this a difficult time for Bigfoot? But let's hear how he responds.
If in places where they're used to going around and stalking deer, if there's people, especially if they've brought dogs, that would kind of deter Bigfoots. But in other areas, it might actually be an attraction for them, especially people are camping and they've got coolers with food. Because that's what a lot of witnesses describe. They're out camping, and then in the wee hours when people are snoring asleep in their tents, that's when they hear something come up, lift open their cooler, and very often they'll kind of rifle through it, but not take anything, and then put the lid back down and go away, as if they're just trying to see what it is maybe that you're taking from the woods as opposed to bringing there. So it's very curious, and it's distinct from a bear. A bear opens up a cooler, there's food in there, it's eating the food.
Right.
So it's different behavior.
So if...
You know what? I'm being honest here. I'm going to be honest here. I don't think... Listen, I know Bigfoot's real. We had an encounter. But I don't think Bigfoot is going to people's ice chest and going through people's coolers. I'm sorry. I don't think so.
Well, you know that
Bigfoot wants that cooler. He'll take the whole goddamn thing.
Eric, Nikki had something similar happen to them when they were up in the woods, with the coolers being messed with and potato chip bags being rattled. Apparently, Bigfoot don't like pretzels. But they did have something similar reported up there. So anything's, and I have heard that so many times. Just so many over and over, so many times.
It's just hard for me trying to think that Bigfoot's going to be going into somebody's ice chest and
well, worse than that.
I mean, listen.
Years ago, I stored my trash in an outbuilding away from the house. You know, just because that's where the trash cans was when we moved here, and over a 6-month period of time, I noticed every once in a while trash bags would be gone. And then I started finding big, giant footprints all around the area. And that's when I started making videos about it and putting them on YouTube to show some friends of mine in New York. Look at this shit.
Then
you
Chris
know?
Jarvis, he wrote, actually, there are plenty of accounts of them not taking food from coolers.
And
our cooler was done the same way. You know, I mean, hey, listen, if it is, but it could also be someone in the next camp over, sneaking over. Who knows? I mean, who knows? But let's see.
In a lot of cases, they find the large footprints like I did, and you start thinking, is Andre the Giant sleeping next door?
Now that's something. Now that's something. If people have their ice chest messed with and there's a footprint, I would hope somebody would have taken a picture of the foot next to an ice chest, because that would be something that I'd be like, okay, there is great proof that they're looking into the ice chest. Is there?
Once again, may I point out, Nikki has some pictures of some feet, but I wouldn't call them giant big feet, but they were pretty large footprints. And obviously not animal. It was something different. I found the footprints to be very interesting. And they did have something similar happen with the coolers up there. And I have had my trash totally missing. And I have went through the woods hiking for 20 miles, just trying to track down wherever the animal put the bag down and tore the trash open.
I've heard trash cans. And
I've never been able to find what happens to the trash. And here's another thing that's happened more than once. You know, I'm in South Carolina. I'm a country boy that can hunt. I can track down a deer in the woods, you know, especially if he's been wounded. And I've been on several cases and in my area where I'm tracking tracks, obvious tracks. You can tell by broke down grass or broke limbs or little twigs out of place, or where something's been moved on the ground. If you're a good tracker, you can track. And several times I've lost trails where it just seemed like they stopped in the middle of nowhere, like it climbed a tree and started going from tree to tree or something, like Predator. And I don't lose tracks like that. I went with the police in the woods and tracked down convicts. I'm good at what I do. And for me to lose a trail, it just boggles my mind. And it's happened more than once. Really is strange. They bring me in to track down lost kids in the woods.
So far, people, I'm looking at the voting. So far, 35 people voted, and 91% yes, 9% no, which that makes sense. I would think anybody's coming in on a Bigfoot Tuesday are more likely to believe in Bigfoot than coming here and not be a believer. But whoever put that no, hey, man, I give you a lot of credit. If you don't believe in Bigfoot, then you should put no in that poll. So whoever put no, hey, more power to you. If you don't believe it's real, then it's not real to you.
Obviously, safety first. What would your advice be to people who are literally specifically going out this summer looking for Bigfoot, going into the more dense areas of the forest across the country? What would your advice be to them?
Well, you don't have to worry about Bigfoots attacking you, because if they're trying to get you out of an area, they'll make scary sounds, or they'll throw rocks or things like that.
I agree with that.
You know, on expeditions, which we've been doing for years, the injuries that we've had on those expeditions are not what you would think. They're not from attacks from animals. They're from walking in the woods and getting a stick in the eye because they don't see what they're walking into. So those kind of injuries are the things that you have to worry about. You know, breaking an ankle, getting a branch in your eye. But beyond that, it's probably the best defense. If you really have to keep a Bigfoot away from you, is you just turn on a flashlight in its direction, and that will stop the party.
Well, okay, you know what? Always a pleasure. I wish I had more time for this subject, but thank you so much for your time, and enjoy your summer. And hopefully, I'll get.
Okay, I'm gonna start showing you guys the article, but man, Fox News has changed. Man, hey, if they have him doing a news channel, then what the fuck? They don't have me doing a news channel. Let me be on Fox News.
Like I said, that's the one. I watch Fox regularly. I watch all the news channels. I like to compare what they're saying to see who's telling the truth and who's not. But I do that, and that's the one show I don't watch because I can't stand that guy. Being a wrestling fan, and if you're a true wrestling fan, you really don't like him.
Well, it's like everybody's looking for the next Joe Rogan, you know. Everybody's looking for that next Joe Rogan, or the actors in the movies now. I don't know their names. I forgot their names. But here.
Well, that guy couldn't clean Joe Rogan's toilet.
Now, here's an article where the show title came from. 10 Bigfoot sightings that made the news. Now, we're going to look at what they considered the best sightings. Now, this ain't from me. This is from Travel Channel, whatever, Travel Magazine, whatever. So this is the 10 Bigfoot sightings that made the news. Okay. Now, first of all, no shit that the Patterson-Gimlin film is going to be on that list. I mean, it's going to be on the list. It's going to be on every channel's list because still to this day, it's probably the biggest Bigfoot news story ever was. So that's always going to be on the list. So we're going to skip that because there's no reason to talk about that. Now, the second one is here. It makes it a little bigger for everybody. Strange sounds in Kentucky. A Bigfoot sighting became a federal investigation when a man fired his weapon inside a national park in Kentucky. A Bat County camper at Mammoth Cave National Park in western Kentucky said a man approached him and mentioned he had heard some strange noises nearby. When the camper heard a gunfire a few minutes later, it was a man shooting at a Bigfoot that said stepped out from some trees. So apparently that was a huge story. Now I've heard a bunch of stories of sounds. I've heard certain sounds of Kentucky, but I never knew this story was considered one of the top 10s. I mean, I guess if Bigfoot does jump in front of you, I guess you would make sure that it's not going to hurt you. I guess, or the guy was drunk and somebody called the police. He's making up something. I mean, I don't know. I can't tell you. I don't know. But the next big story is the first footprint photograph. A British explorer hiking through Himalayan mountains in 1951 took a photograph of a 13-inch footprint that was definitely not human. Yeah, we all seen that picture. We all seen that famous picture of the British guy hiking through the Himalayas. So that's nothing. I see that, I guess, being on the list. Now here's thrown logs. A pair of Bigfoot hunters were on a trail of a cryptid outside Houston, Texas in 2015. But they've soon realized the creature was unhappy with their presence as they began their overnight hunt. The lead investigator realized that something was throwing a full-size logs at them in front of a tree line. The creature then ran away, according to the reports. Now,
I think it was Jeff who had the same kind of story about having a tree log thrown at him by a Bigfoot when he first saw one. Jeff Harding.
Oh, no, you're right. Yeah. When we interviewed him, and he talked about it hurt his foot. He actually got his foot hurt because it was something was thrown at him.
And I love it when I hear stories like this that kind of go with the same as other stories I heard. That's called corroborating evidence, and it puts a modus operandi on the creature has been known to do this.
And it tells you how powerful and strong they are.
Yeah, we already know that.
I mean, if they could throw a log at you, if
I was actually got a video. I was in the woods on an investigation down around the Crescent Hill area here in South Carolina, and I had rocks the size of footballs thrown at me and caught them on camera coming out the woods and knocking trees down.
Footprint cast. Paul Freeman, an employee with the U.S. Forest Service, came almost face to face with a hairy brown creature that almost 8 feet tall. The encounter spurred Freeman's quest to find a Bigfoot. His hunts led to collect a series of plaster casts of Bigfoot prints he found in the forests of the Pacific Northwest. Paul Freeman, he's pretty known in the Northwest of finding cast. Of course, he doesn't have any pictures or evidence of a semi-picture. All he does have is footprints. So I know that story, but Danny's that story. You're South Carolina. I mean, does the Paul Freeman story hit you guys out there in South Carolina?
We're 50-50 take Paul Freeman seriously, but he's like everybody else. They got a story. And when it comes to just a story, it's a story.
Yeah. No, you're right.
And, the only emphasis you can put on it, that might be possible. Yeah. But if you ain't got pictures or footprints or hair or some kind of evidence to analyze it, a story's a story.
You're absolutely correct on that.
And I hear stories 10,000 times a week. If I'm going to hear a story, I prefer to hear a story by my friend Bigfoot Michigan Ride because he knows how to tell a story properly.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
I'm a shameless promoter of my friends.
Well, here's a story out in the Michigan area. A driver in Midland County, Michigan, was driving on a county road in 1997 when he saw a large hairy creature climb out of a ditch on the side of the road. As the witness got closer to the beast, it made eye contact with him before disappearing into the trees. That sounds
like a story out of Big Rob's book.
That's almost like our story when we made eye contact with the Bigfoot and you chase him down and then he disappears out in the woods. So that's not a new.
You see, but you've got something most people don't got for your Bigfoot story. You know what you've got? 11 corroborating witnesses who saw the same thing. That makes it different. That's why Travis Walton wins in your little thing yesterday, is because Barney and Betty Hill can have a stain on a dress and a ripped dress, but when it comes down to it, all they got's a story.
That's true.
But Travis
Walton's
got a story and a bunch of guys in the truck that saw what happened.
Yeah, and I mentioned that yesterday. Yeah, that's one thing. They have a win over Betty. There were 6 compared to 2.
You got witnesses, that changes the whole dynamic of the situation. If you got evidence left, like burn marks on the ground or footprints or something, that adds another level of dynamics to that situation.
Now, this next one is the tree cam sighting. A Washington Department of Transportation traffic camera near Sherman Pass reported a capture of Bigfoot standing in the snow in January 2020. I know which one they're talking about, but I've heard more people thinking that's not Bigfoot versus thinking it could be. So, and of course, I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys it's real or not, but there's more what I've heard of people saying that's not Bigfoot versus not even people saying it could be. There's more no's than yes. And let me tell you guys, people in the Northwest, they are open-minded to Bigfoot. Bigfoot's a big thing in the culture of the state of Washington. But that footage, even myself, I would say more no to yes. But I don't know. I'm not there. I'm not in front of it. It's hard to say.
I'll give it a 50-50. Anything's possible.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. The most fakest one you think might be the most real one, and the most real one you think could be the fakest one.
Have you seen the one of the Bigfoot chasing buffalo at Yellowstone where he's in the field with his giant buffalo, but he's standing straight up? And I keep looking at that picture going, that's got to be fake. But the more and more I look at it, the more and more it looks legit.
Now, this one is a large footprint in Pennsylvania. Stories about a wild man or Bigfoot-type creatures in Pennsylvania date back to the mid-1800s, but a massive footprint discovered in the 1980s was talk of the town in Johnstown, a small city about an hour east of Pittsburgh. A 17.5 by 7-inch footprint was photographed and carried across the Associated Press wire. Again, man, footprints are... I mean, they're cool to find, but
they find footprints like that all the time.
That's what I mean. Exactly. That's what I mean. They're not unusual. It's not unusual.
That's just it. They're not unusual. Anywhere on the East Coast, from New York, Maine, especially in New York, Long Island Bigfoot, Midwest New York, New Bigfoot, upstate Bigfoot, Blue Line Bigfoot, all in New York, all having activity. You come down to Kentucky, Virginia, down to Smoky Mountains, to South Carolina, Georgia, and Florida. The whole East Coast is nothing but Bigfoot sightings. I think there's more Bigfoot and more paranormal activity on the East Coast than the West. I think the fires and the volcanoes and all the horrible stuff, mudslides and earthquakes that goes on in the West have driven the Bigfoot south. I really do.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot less. I think there's a lot less creatures out west than there used to be.
We got a few left. We got one more left here. A falling Bigfoot. Hikers in Frisco, Colorado, were taking a break when they saw something strange on the snow-covered mountains above them. At about 11,000 feet of elevation, they watched a dark figure fall. The hikers immediately began hiking up to the place where they seen the fall. But all they found was a series of footprints and handprints in the snow. Yeah, so according to the list, those are the biggest news stories that I guess more news coverage versus any other coverage. Now, that doesn't make it real, doesn't make it fake. It's up to you on what you consider more newsworthy than not.
The sad case is the one that's fake, like the crap where they had that fake Bigfoot frozen block of ice and all that in Georgia. It's the crap like that gets a lot more attention than the real stuff.
Yeah.
You know, somebody faked it out and it's all over the news, but you let somebody think something's real, it may be on a local news channel.
So I hope you guys in the chat, I hope you guys kind of enjoyed today's show. The idea was to show that Bigfoot is still in the news. There are news stories. Because every news that I showed you guys before that article all came out this year. So there are news channels that do cover Bigfoot. Sometimes you just got to find it. Doesn't make it real or not. It's just every time you turn on the news, they talk more about UFOs because that is the hot topic. You know, and somebody wrote here, I think most are not reported. And you're absolutely right. There are so many Bigfoot stories that are not reported. I mean, that's for any community. We all know that. Some people, and listen, a lot of people that I know up in Washington I've talked to don't even know who to report it to. They really don't. You know, they don't. And if they don't know who to report it to, they're not, they're not looking on the internet like to report. If they don't know who to report it to, they kind of leave it like that. They just kind of leave it alone. But now let me tell you guys what's coming up for the rest of this week on my channel, and let me show you my next two shows, Thursday and Friday. What's coming up? Thursday is a story that Exploring Harley said, hey, let's do one on what country apparently has the most paranormal reports. I'm like, okay, that's interesting. What country has more reporting on the paranormal, according to the Paranormal Society? Now, we know that all reports don't get reported. We know that. But for the fun of this one on Thursday, we're going to check out what country has the most paranormal society. Now, the one on Friday, I'm actually extra excited for because Dr. Wu is going to be back. And what we're talking about on Friday is, and I'm very proud, guys. I'm actually very proud of that thumbnail because that's me carrying a rock. Was it giant people or was it aliens who built the pyramid? Who built the pyramids? And let me tell you guys something right now. Everybody knows Dr. Wu's my brother, of course. We talked about this. We talked to him about this yesterday, and he's got a theory on how the pyramids got built. It's probably a theory that none of you guys have ever heard of before. I'm telling you, come back on Friday because his theory is, I've never heard of this theory before, but hey, who knows? You know what I mean? None of us were born up there in Egypt. We don't know how the pyramids technically really got built. Was it giants who built it? Some people believe it was aliens. Some people believe they did build it themselves. They did do regular tools and built it. We don't know. But Dr. Wu has got a theory that, trust me, you guys want to hear on Friday.
Hey, Judy, drop some links in the chat.
So Danny, what do you got coming up for yourself?
I don't know. Well, sometime today, I'm going to review this comic book I just got.
Yeah, you sent me that in a picture of that in a text. I'm
off, man, and I'm going to put a video up about that on YouTube. And then I'm going to put a video up about me being on your show. And that's all I've got planned unless something really cool happens. I want to give a special shout out to my friend Thrash Pondo Ponds. I'm wearing his new shirt that just come out. Is that not cool? You can find Thrash Pondo Ponds on YouTube.
Hold on, let me.
It's made like the Flash Gordon logo. Except except it's Thrash Ponds.
Which, guys, the 1980 Flash Gordon is very, very, very underrated. That I love watching that Flash Gordon movie with the Queen song. Flash. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm not gonna try to sing it. I'll break everybody's cameras, all your cameras, audio, all be broken if I try to sing that Queen song because my voice is not Freddie Mercury and all that. But seriously, guys, I appreciate you guys coming in today, watching. It's kind of just a fun. I'm glad I asked Dan if he wanted to come by and give his thoughts on the video.
Well, anytime you want me to come on, you know I'm always available to come on the Paranormal Highways. My flagship show, man.
Oh, we like, Danny, we just like to have fun. We're not
Hey,
here to push our beliefs on the people.
There's not too many channels on YouTube that I help name. There you go.
Yeah. We're not here to push any beliefs on anybody because at the end of the day, it's all up to you.
Well, like I said, keep an open mind, though, about everything.
That's it.
You never know what's possible.
That is it. You keep an open mind because you never know. It's like one of the most famous lines I've ever heard from John Wick. John Wick is sitting in the church. The guy goes, "John, you believe in God?" He goes, "No." "Then why are you here?" "Because what if I'm wrong?" Love that. Because what if you are wrong? What if you're wrong? You know what I mean? You want to keep yourself an open mind. That's why I always say nothing is 100% real unless it happens in front of you. If it's not in front of you, you can believe people's story, but it's not 100% if you're not there. 80%, 90%, 70%. So beyond that, guys.
Hey, real quick, Eric. I think it was last Friday, I put up a daytime Bigfoot encounter where I'm on the trail of a creature, and there at the end, everybody's wondering what happened. I slipped on a log and fell and almost broke my arm. That's where all the cuts come from, where I wound up in briars. That's why the video didn't start back up. I messed myself up making that video. And the one before that, it come out at nighttime. It's called Bigfoot Caught on Camera. And there actually is a large creature or something caught on camera in that video. Check it out and let me know what y'all think. I do catch real evidence. That's why I was telling Ron, we don't really got to go far. We can get a couple of beer set up lounge chairs in the backyard, play some Indian flute music, and ain't no telling what's going to happen.
That's one, guys. That's one great thing about Danny. If sometimes I'll go, I want some videos to show. I'll text Danny. Go, I know Danny. I know you got some UFO or Bigfoot, and Danny does. He has it. He'll send it right over.
Check this out. I just picked up some books to be checking out. I got the UFOs and Flying Saucers book. I got the Serious Business Flying Saucers book. These are old out of print books, really hard to find.
Remember, I always say
all about people living on the moon to come out back in the 60s. And the secret space program talked about
he's got full
60s.
Information. So remember, everybody.
This is what I'm really glad. It's out of print, and this is the complete Hynek UFO report, the one he put out after he left Project Blue Book, where he says in the opening pages of this book that he was hired by Blue Book to debunk UFOs, and that 90% of the stuff he said, like swamp gas and all that, he said 90% of that was not true. And now here's the real story. And this book went out of print quite a while ago, and it's one of the hardest books they are to find, and I can't wait to read it because Andy's got all the pictures and all the evidence pictures and stuff are in this book. The diagrams, everything from his original reports are in here. And I can't wait to check out that book.
That's awesome.
And get a perspective for the UFO stuff from back in the 60s.
Now, remember, everybody, I always says the truth is out there. So are lies. But together, all of us working together, we will all find the real truth. Because you know why? You know why, everybody? Because I'll see you all next time on the Paranormal Highway.